Right now, tensions between Iran and Israel are extremely high. Every attack, explosion, or cyber incident raises the same question. Who actually did it? Because in geopolitics, sometimes the country that appears responsible is not the one truly behind the operation. And in modern conflicts, having powerful weapons and huge resources is not always enough. Sometimes what matters most is intelligence, strategy, and deception, creating confusion, distracting the enemy, and manipulating perception. There is even a name for this strategy. It's called a false flag operation, and it has appeared many times throughout history. It means a deceptive operation where a group carries out an action but makes it appear as if someone else did it. The goal is usually to manipulate public opinion, justify a political or military decision, or create a reason for conflict. In simple terms, someone secretly causes an event but makes another group look responsible. The term of false flag comes from naval warfare. Centuries ago, ships sometimes sailed under the flag of another country to trick enemies. Pirates or warships would approach their target pretending to be friendly, then attack once they were close. Over time, the phrase false flag became a general term for any operation designed to hide the real attacker. How a false flag works. Most false flag operations follow the same pattern. 1. An incident or attack happens. 2. Evidence points toward a specific enemy. 3. The public reacts emotionally. 4. The real organizers gain political or military advantage. Now let's look at some historical events often discussed in this context. The first one is Gleiwitz Incident. In the official start of World War II is September 1st, 1939, when Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. But just before the invasion, Hitler needed a justification. Britain and France had warned that attacking Poland could trigger war, so Nazi leaders organized a false flag operation. On the night of August 31st, 1939, German operatives, under orders from Heinrich Himmler and Reinhard Heydrich, staged an attack on a German radio station in Gleiwitz, near the Polish border. The attackers wore Polish uniforms and broadcast a short anti-German message to make it appear that Poland had carried out the assault. The operation was part of a wider covert plan known as Operation Himmler. Nazi propaganda quickly blamed Poland. The next morning, German forces invaded, triggering the beginning of the war in Europe. 2. Mainila Incident, 1939. On November 26, 1939, artillery shells hit the Soviet village of Mainila, near the Finnish border. The Soviet Union immediately blamed Finland, claiming Finnish forces had attacked their territory. Using this incident as justification, the Soviets canceled their non-aggression pact and invaded Finland 4 days later, starting the Winter War. However, later historical research and declassified documents suggested the shells were likely fired by Soviet forces themselves to create a pretext for war. 3. Lavon Affair, 1954. In 1954, Israel carried out a secret mission in Egypt known as the Lavon Affair. Small groups of Egyptian Jews recruited by Israeli intelligence planted bombs in civilian targets like cinemas and libraries. The bombs were timed to avoid casualties, but the goal was to make it look like Egyptian extremists were responsible, hoping to influence Britain to keep troops in the Suez Canal zone. The plan failed. 1 bomb went off prematurely, suspects were arrested, 2 were executed, and the scandal forced Israel's defense minister, Pinchas Lavon, to resign. The operation became one of history's most infamous false flag attempts. 4. Operation Northwoods, 1962. In 1962, at the height of the Cold War, the CIA and the Joint Chiefs of Staff drafted Operation Northwoods, a secret plan to justify a war against Cuba. The idea was shocking. Stage bombings, hijackings, shootings, and even sink a U.S. Navy ship, then blame it on Fidel Castro's regime. They even suggested holding fake funerals to make it look real. The plan reached the Secretary of Defense and was sent to President John F. Kennedy, who rejected it and fired the general behind the proposal. The American public never knew until the files were declassified in 1997. Operation Northwoods remains one of history's most chilling examples of a false flag plot. Just for your informations, not every suspicious event is a false flag. The term is often used in conspiracy theories without strong evidence. That's why historians require solid documentation and proof before labeling any event a true false flag. Finally, history shows that deception has always been part of warfare and politics. And when an attack happens, the most important question may not be what happened, but who actually benefits from it. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the video.